Hello everyone, this is your host Rohan Tandel from InnoHealth Magazine Studio. I welcome you to this podcast produced by InnovatioCuris with a mission to spread awareness and knowledge of various facets of healthcare innovation. You are listening to the Voices of IC Innovator podcast from InnoHealth Magazine, the first magazine in India on healthcare innovations. In this podcast, we invite the members of the IC InnovatorCLUB and get to know a little bit about the journey and further discuss their perspectives about the club. Today, we are going to have a conversation with Professor Saurabh Gupta from NIT Raipur. Welcome, Mr. Saurabh, to our podcast.
Yeah, thank you, Rohan.
So, now coming to the podcast, let me elaborate on the flow of this podcast. I would be asking you a series of questions and we may discuss your opinions on it. Before starting, I would like you to tell us a little bit about your career path, your journey up to this point.
So, thank you, Rohan, for this. And presently I am a faculty at NIT Raipur Biomedical Engineering Department. So prior to that, I had done my BTech in Biomedical Engineering, then my Masters from Manipal University, then my PhD from IC Bangalore in inverse problems. So here I am also into a bit like a kind of innovations and looking at healthcare innovations. And that's what we are doing as of today.
Now further talking about career, we have varying experiences at various stages, bringing in various life lessons, of which we think some of those lessons have taken a long time to realization. It's not a sense of regret, but we feel or say imagine that under some different circumstance, that is having learned the lesson earlier would have given a smoother flow to the career. So my question to you is, what is that one thing or say one lesson that you wish you knew at the start of your career?
Okay, good. So I think it's not just one, but many, and I have learned a lot. So as in every profession, I think one thing that should be encouraged is value creation. And value creation can be done in many ways. And our training just gives us the expertise in one of the many ways. Right? So my point is like if I had been introduced to philosophy of science and technology before science and technology itself, then my perspective would have been different. And I hope better for value creation. Maybe in other sense, and exploring more before starting the career during my education could have helped me to choose based on my particular strengths and weaknesses. So one thing I've learned is like opportunities are everywhere and they can be created too. And last but not the least is that everyone can innovate. So that is something I hope that I wish I have been knowing before the start of my career.
True, sir. Now coming to the next question. Life is a journey, and to make the most in this journey, we use things or say the resources available to us as stepping stones to grow and develop to be the ideal personality that we would like to build in our future. Some of that enabling us to take a major leap due to its deep impact on our minds. So my question to you is, what are the resources that had a major influence on you as a professional or as an individual?
Okay, so the thing is that in my opinion, people resources are the best resources. And network of school, college friends definitely helped me. Then few things that helped me a lot is the power of observing, reading and listening to others. So that has given me some new perspectives over the time. And earlier I was not very interested in history and philosophy, but as I read it more, be it about science, technology, arts or anything, it helped me a lot with new insights. So that's it.
Now moving further, like resources, we come across many personalities whose life decisions or maybe passion towards their career or any other attribute wants us to mirror those personalities. So I'd like to know which person or who are the people you idealize and why.
Okay, good. So the point is there is not any particular name that came to my mind, but I really appreciate the people who are like community or ecosystem builders. And you have who have created a value for a greater good for society. So like be it a scientist, politician or from any field, and even like music composers who adds value to our driving experiences. So it is like whoever can create value for the society. And I like to listen to read such people more.
Yeah, sir. I agree with your point. The people who build communities are the people who believe in a collaborative approach and helping various people rather than only focusing on building their own career in an industry. Their focus is on the growth of the industry as a whole. So I guess you have great personas of ideals there. So now moving further, talking about careers, many people face various hardships. So I'd like to know some of the hardships you faced in your career and how you found inspiration from such situations.
Okay, good. So the thing what I feel is when it comes to hardship, the most difficult thing to handle is the people's mindset and of the people who are working with you and around you. And this is like in vice versa also. Like for a few people, our mindset is also a very big challenge. So that is one thing. And most of the time, it doesn't align with your goals or vice versa. And yeah, it is inspirational whenever somebody agrees with me or I'm able to convince them. It gives me a sense of achievement kind of thing. So the more I do, the more confidence builds up, and it is very subjective because of the mind we have. So that is one thing I can say about the hardships there, whatever I have found in my career, and even like education or like anywhere mostly. So in that line.
True, sir. Be it any career, the human element is always present. So interaction with people and building rapport with them and alignment in thoughts and opinions is a must. This is a hardship many people face, of which some get stuck, some sail through it. So, for the next question, we may be liking a profession a lot, but there are always certain professions that intrigues us, not necessarily to make a living out of it completely, but just a wish to explore and enjoy the journey if time permits. So, what I would like to know is, besides your current profession, what profession would you like to explore?
Okay, so I think I'm in a teaching profession where I have the opportunity to do a good research also. So I think my profession is okay when it comes to the profession. It is also one of the most noble professions. And I think even today, like most of the people are using like social media and all that are coming into some kind of mentorship or teaching. So I am pretty much satisfied with my current profession. Right? It gives me a lot of opportunity to interact with the young students and to keep me at toes. So for the whatever is the happening in any area at the current edge. So like as an educator, it helps me to interact, and as a researcher there are a lot of things that have yet to be explored. So that way, yeah, it is good. And I'll just want to make better on whatever I'm doing right now.
Great, sir. Moving to the next question. In this fast paced world, there are many reasons for stress in the daily lives of a person, for which many people find out their own ways to relieve it through some activity. So, I'd like to know, doing what makes you feel your best self, or say, rejuvenates you from the daily workload and stress?
Okay, so I think the buzzword today is mindfulness when we are talking about this rejuvenation and bringing best out of ourselves. So a bit of it with some unconditioning and using meditation and some keeping a certain daily routine at morning mostly and after office work. It helps me to realign myself and uh, to yeah, to it helps me to rejuvenate to my whatever the maximum I can do that way.
True, sir. A small amount of time post or pre daily routine for mindfulness and meditation helps to get through the day. Now, coming to the IC Innovator Club, I would like to ask what it means for you to be a member of IC Innovator Club.
So yeah, it has been a great experience to be a part of this club. So I am regularly following its events. I am taking parts in its discussions, and it has really added value to my thought process and the way I work, and giving new perspectives. The people associated with the group are really like uh, are really great experts in their own fields. So that is that is something I would like to appreciate. And looking forward, if there is any something like a lifetime membership for a club, I'll be happy to take it.
Coming to the next question, the definition of innovation may be the same for everyone, but the meaning, the value, or say the inference of the word differs from person to person. So, my question to you is, what does innovation mean to you considering the healthcare industry?
Fine. So for me, a good healthcare is something which is affordable, which obviously having a quality and a healthcare for all. So if we can, so for me, the innovation in healthcare is something like affordable quality healthcare for all. So it could be like it can bring innovations in telemedicine, low cost devices, faster diagnosis, as we have seen in COVID, and treatments, and whole ecosystem of healthcare in general.
True, sir. I agree with your perspective. I feel when we see the healthcare industry as of now, many of the facilities are not affordable to a huge chunk of the population, which seems like healthcare is more focused on the disease rather than the patient. The focus, I believe, should be towards the needful, getting the necessary facilities. So, for my final question, I would like to ask, where can our listeners connect with you?
So yeah, I am mostly active in almost all the social media, from LinkedIn to Facebook to Instagram. So you can just through that I can be always contacted if anybody would like to.
The link to connect with our guest speaker, Mr. Saurabh, will be down in the description. Before concluding, I would like to thank Mr. Saurabh Gupta for joining us on the podcast. Thank you, sir, for giving us the time and sharing your experiences and views with us. It was a pleasure to have a conversation with you.
Thank you, Rohan and InnoHealth team, for this podcast and giving me the opportunity to bring out my views about the questions that have been asked. Yeah, thank you, Rohan.
To conclude, I would like to call out to our audience to leave a comment with a review and let us know whether you like the podcast. Drop down a comment if you have any podcast ideas or recommendations. If you have a healthcare innovation journey of your own to be a part of our podcast, do connect with us. And for more such content on healthcare and innovation, visit innohealthmagazine.com. Stay safe. Goodbye from your host, Rohan Tandil from InnoHealth Magazine Studio. Thank you.